The coronavirus has led us to spend a lot of time at home. After you've been at home, sheltering, alone, or with family, watching those walls moving in all around you, maybe you'll understand what it is like to be your feathered companion. Because much of the time, most birds are surrounded by walls. We do it for their protection, because most homes aren't safe. They can chew electrical cords, they can chew the walls, they can get into things that could harm them. And the walls aren't going to harm them in most cases, but sometimes they have lead paint if you're in an older home. So you watch those walls coming in and in and in until suddenly you get the idea of what it's like to be a bird. To come out occasionally and be celebrated for a short amount of time, and then all of a sudden, you're locked up again. All of a sudden, that freedom that you had is gone. All of a sudden, you find yourself behind the bars, looking out, trying to figure out how you're going to live with a few toys and a little bit of attention. So if you wonder why your bird strobes its beak against the bars, or your bird sometimes makes repetitive motions like this, it's because they're in prison. And no matter how you look at it, no matter what good you may have in your heart, they're still prisoners. And unfortunately, we can't return them to the wild. They just don't make it if you try to put them back. At least, we don't have any evidence for that. I've heard a few stories going on in Australia that are kind of in the background, and biologists who've been successful in that. You enjoying that paper over there, Ron? Is that fun? Do you like dancing in the paper? That's a good boy. That's a good bird. Yes, he is. My roamer. My little roaming bird. I love you. I love you. I know. Our Rome is one of those birds that, unfortunately, he was so damaged by the people who had him, he doesn't feel safe out in the world. So he comes out, he lets me pet him, but he doesn't like to get too far from his cage. And once in a while, if a special friend comes by, they can coax him outside. But that's dangerous too, because if he gets scared, he's not trying to hurt anyone, but he'll bite to get away from you if he's scared, and you can't blame him. So at least try to give your bird the same amount of time every day. Give them some solidarity. Give them a routine, and break the routine with little highlights here and there. If they're in the cage most of the day and they come out for 2 hours at a certain time, taking them out for 20 minutes at another time, in the morning one day, in the evening another, give them something to look forward to. Give them something that makes them feel less like they're in a cage, and more like they're just resting in their bedroom. We're spending far too much time there, we're having trouble in our relationships, and we may find we're going to have trouble with in our relationships with our birds later on. One of the big issues is not giving them more time now than you will later. Can you imagine? Can you only imagine what it would be like if all of a sudden your wife or your husband or your partner just gave you a whole bunch of attention and then suddenly they were gone? That's happened many times in relationships, okay? So the big deal here is don't give them more time than you normally would. Now they're going to see you a lot more, and that's going to be tough. A lot of people are going to the pound and getting dogs or cats and bringing them home and giving them a bunch of attention. They may suffer from this too, but not as much as birds do. Thank you for watching this video, and try to remember that you're not a jailer. You're the one who's coming to give them experiences that make life worth living. Make sure you're not giving them a jail sentence. make sure that you're giving them the affection they need, not overdoing it, not underdoing it, giving them a schedule, and also sparking some times at different times of the day where they get to feel like they're free. And if there's any way that you can give them time where they can make the choice to come out on their own, where they can make the choice to rise up and be free, do that if you can, okay? Thanks for watching, and please support us by going to Patreon, to patreon.com/Chloe Sanctuary, and become a member, or go to our webpage, chloesanctuary.org, and make a donation, a single donation. You can also make recurring donations at that website. During this time when we are isolated, remember the isolation of your beloved feathered friend. Don't abuse the fact that you're with them now, and don't give them more time than you're able to give them when you are back in the world and locked up in your daily job and life. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
to science, knowledge only adds to the excitement, the mystery, and the awe of a flower.
Evidence is evidence. It's public. Everybody can look at the evidence and assess it, and eventually, if there's enough evidence, come to the same conclusion.
The Chloe Sanctuary for Parrots and Cockatoos, a nonprofit charity dedicated to the empowerment of captive parrots and public awareness.